The legendary 5, How the Lives of the Supermodels of the 90s Evolved from the Famous Peter Lindbergh Photograph. The girls in that photo were not just celebrities, they were style icons, creating fashion trends and dictating their own rules. Naomi Campbell, Cindy Crawford, Linda Evangelista, Christy Turlington, Tatiana Patitz. Until 1990, the term supermodel was not widely used because girls modeling clothes and starring in advertisements were of little interest to consumers. As a result, there were few big names in society who became a direct part of pop culture. That all changed in 1989, when German-born fashion photographer Peter Lindbergh organized a shoot and invited beauties who had already appeared in fashion shows and advertisements. There were 5 girls: Naomi Campbell, Cindy Crawford, Linda Evangelista, Christy Turlington, and Tatiana Patitz. The young models posed in very laconic tops and jeans, with minimal makeup on their faces and simply styled hair. He took the photo to the editor, Alexander Lieberman, but he refused to publish it in his magazine because, in his opinion, it would not sell. The photographer then showed his black and white work to Anna Wintour, who was then editor of British Vogue. The journalist put Lindbergh's photo on the cover of the January 1990 issue of the magazine and made a breakthrough in the fashion world, as people were tired of prim models in glamorous looks. Another 5 of them had success when fashion designer Gianni Versace invited them to participate in his shows, and they also starred in George Michael's video for the song Freedom. 90. Since 1990, they have been actively called supermodels. Their fees grew, they were admired, they actively acted in films, commercials, and were the faces of the most famous fashion houses. Find out what happened to the beauties in this photo and how their fate turned out in our article. Naomi Campbell. The British model was already a successful model before this famous photo shoot, as she had repeatedly posed for glossies and participated in shows for famous brands. There were also times in her career when her friendships with models and designers helped her get the work she wanted, as they blackmailed brands and glossies that refused to work with Naomi. But after the Lindbergh's Vogue photo, Campbell became much more popular, and in addition to the George Michael video, she also appeared in Michael Jackson's 1991 In the Closet video. Campbell has also repeatedly appeared nude, walking the catwalks in the most outrageous and daring looks. She was nicknamed the Black Panther for her spectacular cat walk on the runways. Despite her overwhelming success, the model also had a terrible temper and was repeatedly sued by her employees, who described her as a manipulative, rude, and scheming person with a complex personality. It is possible that Naomi's emotional control was impaired by drugs and alcohol, to which she had a long-standing addiction. The model also tried her hand at other endeavors, publishing books written by contract authors under her own name, recording songs, acting in movies, and even investing in the restaurant business. None of these endeavors brought her any additional fame. She had relationships with many famous people, including actors, singers, millionaires, and even a Russian, but most of these romances ended in nothing. Naomi's first child was born to a surrogate mother when the model was 50 years old, and it is unknown who the father of her first child is. Now the Black Panther is over 50 years old, but she continues to work actively. She shoots for magazines, participates in fashion shows, and appears on catwalks. Cindy Crawford. After her triumph at Vogue, Cindy began appearing in celebrity videos, most notably a Jon Bon Jovi video, and she has appeared in numerous magazines, including Vogue, People, Harper's Bazaar, Elle, Cosmopolitan, and Allure. She has also worked on the catwalk, collaborated with the world's most famous brands, been the face of several cosmetic lines, and has been regularly included in lists of the world's most beautiful women. But she has also worked in other areas, such as acting in commercials. The young model's most famous shoot was the 1992 Pepsi Super Bowl commercial in a white t-shirt and short denim shorts. The image has become iconic. The fitness videos she shot were also very popular. She showed and told how to make your body healthier and slimmer. But even though Crawford was not as scandalous as her colleague Naomi, fans still followed her romance and marriage to actor Richard Gere with great interest. They were married for only 4 years before Cindy met her second husband, businessman Randy Gerber, to whom she is still married. The couple has 2 children. Cindy does very little acting these days and only works for top publications, including fashion shows. Linda Evangelista. Linda worked actively with various brands and participated in many advertising campaigns, the most memorable of which were the opium ads for Yves Saint Laurent and Fiji for Guy Laroche. She has been called the greatest model of all time. Throughout the 90s, the model worked very actively and her name became incredibly famous because she was everywhere, in advertisements, at fashion shows, at social events and on magazine covers. Once she even said, "I won't even get out of bed for less than $10,000, and this quote became a cult. It was printed on t-shirts, accessories and pillows. In fact, it was probably true somewhere, as the beauty was receiving incredible fees for her work. But despite her successful career, Linda decided to take a break in 1998 and moved to the French Riviera, where she spent the next 2 years. However, men did not bring her happiness in life. Each of her romances ended in breakup. In a relationship with French soccer player Fabien Barthez, the model became pregnant, but she miscarried in the 6th month. The couple eventually split up. She had several more high-profile affairs and a high-profile return to work, but suddenly in 2006, Evangelista gave birth to a son, Augustine James, while refusing to name his father. The man's name finally surfaced in 2011, when it was revealed that the father of her child was billionaire François-Henri Pinault, now Salma Hayek's husband, whom Evangelista had been dating for 4 months. On August 1, 2011, the model filed a child support suit, demanding $46,000 in monthly payments from Pinault. After negotiations, the matter was settled out of court. Suddenly, the model disappeared from the public eye, and in 2021, she gave a devastating interview in which she stated that she was unhappy with the changes in her body and decided to undergo the cosmetic procedure CoolSculpting, cryolipolysis. Due to complications, the procedure changed her beyond recognition. The woman lived as a recluse for 6 years, hiding from the paparazzi, not appearing in public and not working. All this led to a long depression. In 2022, the model walked the catwalk for the first time, posing for a glossy magazine, but her body was completely covered. Christy Turlington. Christy continued to work with glossy magazines, major clothing brands and cosmetics companies, and appeared in several fashion documentaries, music videos and commercials. The model began to actively support animal rights organizations, including PETA. In 1992, Christy appeared completely nude in an ad campaign for the organization. In 2003, after a long and complicated relationship, the model married director and writer Edward Bernays and gave birth to her first child that same year. After personally experiencing childbirth complications and learning that more than 500,000 women die in childbirth each year, Turlington decided that she wanted to work in the field and help mothers who were struggling. She earned a master's degree in public health from Columbia University and began working with various organizations to reduce maternal mortality, traveling to many countries, including Africa. She also made the documentary No Woman, No Cry about motherhood. Her work on the film inspired her to found Every Mother Counts, a non-profit organization dedicated to making pregnancy and childbirth safe for every mother. But her work doesn't stop there. Turlington also serves on the Global Health Council at Harvard Medical School, is a member of several other similar health organizations, and is an active anti-smoking campaigner. In her free time, Christy practices yoga and runs, and has even participated in marathons. She rarely walks the catwalk these days, but when she does, it is usually for high-profile brands. Tatiana Patitz. Tatiana also continued her modeling career, but even before she met Lindbergh, she was quite famous, especially in Europe. Patitz was called the $1 Million Beauty, and she modeled for the most famous and popular publications and traveled all over the world. During her career, Patitz appeared on the covers of more than 200 magazines, including 7 covers of American Vogue and 13 covers of British Vogue, and participated in advertising campaigns from Chanel to Ralph Lauren. The model loved animals, was an avid horsewoman, and advocated for the environment and the rights of four-legged creatures. That's why, in 2007, she participated in a social advertising campaign calling for the protection of orangutans in the rainforest. She has also been active in issues related to inclusivity, HIV awareness, LGBTQ rights and gender equality. The model has only one son, whom she gave birth to after marrying Jason Randall Johnson. They lived on a ranch in California. On January 11, 2023, Tatiana Patitz died of breast cancer in Santa Barbara at the age of 56.